All right, welcome back, football fans. Big Al here on this Tuesday night, November 8th, 2022. And it's time to take a look at the college football national rankings as we enter week number 11 of the 2022 season. And this also includes the second college football playoff rankings. Those are coming up at the end. But first, I want to start off with the AP Top 25 College Football Poll entering week number 11. This is the weekend of November 12th. All right, no change with the top two. Georgia remains at number one. Nearly unanimous here, 9-0 record, 1,574 points, and 62 first place votes. They, of course, defeated Tennessee 27-13 this past week, and this week they travel to Oxford to face the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Holding steady at 9-2 with a 9-0 record and 1,500 points plus one first place vote is the Ohio State Buckeyes. They had to fight against Northwestern, but they ultimately won 21-7. Heisman hopeful or Heisman Trophy frontrunner Curtis Stroud had probably his worst game of the year, but nonetheless, the Buckeyes ended up winning. This week, they'll host a pretty bad Indiana team in Columbus. Moving up one spot to number 3, 9-0 record, 1,455 points. The Michigan Wolverines fell behind at halftime at Rutgers, but they pulled away in the second half and won 52-17. This week, they'll play their final home game of the season against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Jumping 3 spots to number 4, 9-0 record, 1,361 points. The TCU Horned Frogs. They took care of Texas Tech 34-24 this week. They'll travel to Austin to face the Texas Longhorns, and I'll tell you where Texas landed in the AP poll a little bit later. Down 3 spots to number 5. 8-1 record and 1,339 points to Tennessee Volunteers. That's after being shelled by Georgia, 27-13. They'll try and bounce back at home this week against Missouri. Moving up 2 spots to number 6, the Oregon Ducks. 8-1, 1,258 points. They destroyed Colorado in Boulder 49-10, and they'll return home to host the Washington Huskies. Did they make this week's AP Top 25? Find out a little bit later on. Number 7 is where you'll find our biggest jump in the AP poll this week. That's the LSU Tigers, up 8 spots from last week. After last week's thrilling 32-31 overtime victory over Alabama, the Tigers are 7-2 with 1,132 points. And this week they traveled to Arkansas to face the Razorbacks. Moving up 1 spot to number 8, the USC Trojans. 8-1 and 1,061 points. They won a tight one with California, 41-35. This week they'll host Colorado. At number 9, that would be UCLA's. That would be the UCLA Bruins, USC's crosstown rival. 8-1, 1,040 points. They won 50-36 in a shootout against Arizona State in Tempe. They will return home to face the Arizona Wildcats here in Week 11. Falling 4 spots to number 10 with a 7-2 record and 1,009 points, and taking a big blow to their national championship hopes, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Of course, losing in OT, double OT, in fact, to LSU, 32-31. This week they host the team that's directly behind them at number 11 and coming off the bye week with an 8-1 record at 962 points. That's the Ole Miss Running Rebels. And this game will be played in Oxford. Dropping 7 spots to number 12 with an 8-1 record and 938 points, the Clemson Tigers. And this is after getting drilled by Notre Dame in South Bend last Saturday night, 35-14. They'll try the right to ship this week against Louisville. Slipping 1 spot to number 13, 7-2 record, 881 points, the Utah Utes. They moved down despite a 45-20 win over Arizona, and this week they'll host another weak Pac-12 opponent in the Stanford Cardinal. Up 2 spots to number 14 at 7-2 and 735 points, the Penn State Nittany Lions. They trounced Indiana in Bloomington 45-14. This week they'll return home to host the Maryland Terrapins. Also moving up 2 spots to number 15, 8-1 record, 676 points, the North Carolina Tar Heels. They defeated Virginia in Charlottesville 31-28, and this week they travel down to Wake Forest. And we'll see if they stayed in the rankings after their loss this week. Moving up 3 spots to number 16, 8-1 record, and 607 points, the Tulane Green Wave. 27-13 winners at Tulsa this past week. This week they will host UCF, and we'll tell you if the Golden Knights stayed in the rankings in just a bit. Moving up 4 spots to number 17, 7-2 record, 547 points, the NC State Wolfpack. They were victorious over Wake Forest 30-21. Wake Forest then ranked 20th at the time. We'll see if they're still ranked in just a bit. This week, the Wolfpack will host Boston College. Number 18 is where you'll find one of 4 newcomers to this week's poll. And this team is returning to the AP poll. In fact, all 4 of the newcomers are returning to the AP poll this week. At number 18, you got the Texas Longhorns, 6-3, 399 points, coming off that 34-27 win at then 13th ranked Kansas State. They got a tough test coming up with the undefeated 4th ranked TCU Horned Frogs in Austin. Up 4 spots to number 19, the Liberty Flames, 8-1, 358 points. They won 21-19 at Arkansas, and this week they'll travel to Connecticut to face the Huskies. Re-entering the AP poll at number 20 after having been out for the past 5 or 6 weeks, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, 6-3, 316 points. They blew away then 5th-ranked Clemson 35-14, and this week they will host the Navy Midshipmen. Plummeting 7 spots and crashing down at number 21, the Illinois Fighting Illini, 7-2, 262 points. Losing at home to a pretty bad Michigan State team, 23-15. That will not do you any favors. This week, they'll host the Purdue Boilermakers down in Champaign. Up 3 spots to number 22 with a 7-2 record and 257 points are the UCF Golden Knights. They won 35-28 at the Liberty Bowl against the Memphis Tigers, and this week they will travel to New Orleans to face number 16 Tulane. The biggest drop in the AP poll this week is the Kansas State Wildcats, down 10 spots to number 23. 6-3 record, 247 points. Losing at home to Texas, 34-27. This week they travel to Waco to face another Texas team, the Baylor Bears. And the final 2 are both returnees to the AP poll. At number 24, the Washington Huskies. 7-2, 187 points. They won against last week's number 24 team, Oregon State, 24-21. And this week, they will travel to Eugene to face the 6th-ranked Oregon Ducks. And back in the AP at number 25, the Florida State Seminoles, 6-3, 78 points. They destroyed the Miami Hurricanes, 45-3. And this week, they're off to the Carrier Dome to face a suddenly slumping Syracuse team. And so the 4 teams that dropped from the AP poll this week are Oklahoma State, previously 18th, Wake Forest, previously 20th, Syracuse, previously 22nd, and Oregon State, previously 24th. Others receiving votes in the AP poll include the Cincinnati Bearcats with 74 points, the Kentucky Wildcats 61, Coastal Carolina Chanticleers 46. Then it's the Wake Forest Demon Deacons with 34, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys with 21, the Baylor Bears with 19, Kansas Jayhawks 10, Mississippi State Bulldogs 8, South Carolina Gamecocks 6, Troy with 5, same with the UTSA Roadrunners, Oregon State Beavers with 3, Louisville Cardinals with 3, and the San Jose State Spartans with 1. All right, so that's this week's AP poll entering week 11. Now we're going to jump to the USA Today AFCA Coaches Poll entering week number 11. Again, this is the weekend of Saturday, November 12th. And it's going to take just a second for it to load up on my phone. Here it is. Okay. And just like in the AP poll, there's no change with the top 2 teams. The Georgia Bulldogs remain number 1. 9-0 and 1,572 points with 61 first-place votes. Ohio State stays at number 2, 9-0 and 1,505 points. Up 1 spot to number 3, the Michigan Wolverines, 9-0 record, 1,447 points, and 2 first-place votes. Number 4, up 3 spots from last week, the TCU Horned Frogs, 9-0 record, 1,355 points. Number 5 is the Tennessee Volunteers, falling 2 spots from last week after the loss to Georgia. They're now 8-1 with 1,284 points. Moving up 2 spots to number 6 are the Oregon Ducks, 8-1, 1,272 points. Also moving up 2 spots to number 7, another Pac-12 school, the USC Trojans, 8-1 and 1,140 points. The LSU Tigers also have the biggest jump in the coaches poll, moving up 9 spots to number 8. 7-2 record, 1,082 points. Up 1 spot to number 9 with an 8-1 record and 1,056 points, the Ole Miss Running Rebels. Also up a spot to number 10, 8-1 record, 988 points, the UCLA Bruins. Dropping 5 spots to number 11 with a 7-2 record and 973 points, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Falling even further were the Clemson Tigers, dropping 7 spots to number 12. 8-1 record, 896 points. Slipping a spot despite winning to number 13, 7-2 and 888 points are the Utah Utes. Inching up 1 spot to number 14, the North Carolina Tar Heels, 8-1, 737 points. Up 1 spot to number 15, the Penn State Nittany Lions, 7-2, 717 points. And of course, Penn State's 2 losses were to Michigan and Ohio State. Go figure, right? Up 4 spots to number 16, the NC State Wolfpack, 7-2, 568 points. Also up 4 spots to number 17, the Tulane Green Wave, 8-1, 555 points. Re-entering the coaches poll at number 18, the first of 3 newcomers, the Texas Longhorns, 6-3, 368 points. Jumping 4 spots to number 19 with an 8-1 record and 366 points are the Liberty Flames. Falling 7 spots to number 20 are the Illinois Fighting Illini with a 7-2 record and 302 points. Up 4 spots to number 21, 7-2 record, 273 points, the Central Florida Golden Knights, or UCF. Biggest drop in the coaches poll belongs to the Kansas State Wildcats, falling 8 spots, crash landing at number 22. 6-3 record, 243 points. Re-entering the coaches poll at number 23, the Washington Huskies, 7-2, 175 points. Holding steady at number 24, the Kentucky Wildcats, 6-3 and 173 points. They won 21-17 at Missouri, and this week they will host Vanderbilt. And re-entering the coaches poll at number 25, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, 6-3 with 133 points. All right, dropping from the coaches poll this week were Oklahoma State, previously at 18, Wake Forest, previously 19, and Syracuse, previously 22nd. Others receiving votes include Coastal Carolina, 77, Cincinnati, 70, Oklahoma State and Wake Forest, both with 53, Baylor, 46, Florida State, 22, Syracuse, 20, Kansas, 12, Mississippi State, 11, Troy, 10, Louisville, 9, UTSA, 6. There we go. Pittsburgh and Minnesota, each with 4. Then you got South Carolina, Oregon State, and Maryland, each with 3, and Boise State with 1. All right, so that's the AFCA coaches poll for this week. Now, the second college football playoff rankings of the year as we go into week number 11. Give me just a second while this phone brings up that information. And there we go. And again, we're starting from the bottom and working our way up. All right. New at number 25, the Washington Huskies. New at number 24, the Kentucky Wildcats. New at number 23, the Florida State Seminoles. Up 3 spots to number 22, the UCF Golden Knights. Down 5 spots to 21, the Illinois Fighting Illini. New at number 20, and this is the highest of the newcomers, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish at 6-3. Biggest drop in the college football playoff is 6 spots, and this is the first of them. The Kansas State Wildcats down to number 19 with a 6-3 record. Meanwhile, the Texas Longhorns had the biggest jump, or is tied for the biggest jump in the CFP standings this week, moving up 6 spots to number 18. The Tulane Green Wave at 8-1 move up 2 spots to number 17. And then the other 6-point riser in the CFP is the NC State Wolfpack at 7-2 and ranked 16th. Up 2 spots to number 15, the North Carolina Tar Heels at 8-1. Number 14, up 1 spot, the Penn State Nittany Lions at 7-2. Number 13 also up one spot, the Utah Utes at 7-2. Number 12 and unchanged from last week, the UCLA Bruins at 8-1. Number 11 also 8-1 and also unchanged from last week, the Ole Miss Running Rebels. The other team falling 6 spots in the CFP rankings this week is the Clemson Tigers, down to number 10 with an 8-1 record. Alabama slipped 3 spots to number 9 with a 7-2 mark. Up 1 spot to number 8, the USC Trojans, 8-1. Up 3 to number 7 is the LSU Tigers at 7-2. Up 2 spots to number 6 with an 8-1 record, the Oregon Ducks. And dropping from the top spot and falling 4 spots to number 5, the Tennessee Volunteers at 8-1. And then the top 4 are all unbeaten. TCU, up 3 spots from last week, sits at number 4. Michigan also gets themselves into the top 4, moving up 2 spots to number 3. Ohio State stays unchanged at number 2. And taking over the top spot this week, moving up 2 spots, are the Georgia Bulldogs. And that is a look at the college football national rankings entering week number 11 of the 2022 season. Now give me just a moment and I will be back with a look at the week 11 college football schedule and the announcers for each game. That's coming up here shortly. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy the pigskin. Peace out for now.